Now, before Macron even left for the UK, France announced that it has given the go-ahead to lend the Bayeux Tapestry, having it leave France for the first time in 950 years. This is the sort of diplomatic gesture that Macron is actually quite good at. What does it say about the state of the Franco-British relations today?
Absolutely. I mean, he's really been doing it to great effect over the last few months with Donald Trump, the invitation to the Bastille Day celebrations, the gift of a horse to Xi Jinping in Peking, and now this. I think it's a demonstration of confidence, first of all, but it's also a little reminder, of where British history comes from, particularly English history. The Battle of Hastings, when William the Conqueror defeated King Harold of England, was a turning moment in British history when Britain was actually anchored to the continent. So maybe just at the back of this gift is a little reminder that actually Britain's interests are best served by being part of the continent.
Indeed, that 1066 has certainly marked the British people. I do know that. Also, in what appears to be another triumph for President Macron, and again, even before he left France, the British Prime Minister, Theresa May, seemed ready to accept some of Macron's reservations about Le Touquet Accords. And just to remind everyone, those were signed in 2003 and essentially moved the British border over to France and Calais and the French border to Dover.
Absolutely. And just a week ago, Downing Street was saying that migration wasn't an issue, wasn't going to be discussed in these talks, but the French clearly had other ideas. They made it absolutely clear that they wanted to be central to the talks, and indeed over the last week intensive negotiations have been going on, and the British side have pretty much conceded to what the French wanted, which is an indication of the respective fortunes of the two countries at the moment. France on the ascendant with President Macron, and UK with Prime Minister Theresa May rather on the downslope at the moment. Essentially what it amounts to is not a renegotiation of Le Touquet, but a new treaty which is like an addition to Le Touquet. And as part of it, Britain has agreed to provide 51 million euros for beefing up security in Calais. It's agreed to take in unaccompanied minors who are in Calais, and migrants too who can prove that they've got relatives in the UK. Those are the essentials of it. But really, the other point really is, I think, that Theresa May is having to give in. She's apparently negotiating hard on another associated demand from the French side that Britain give money for the Calais region as a consequence of the problems they've had with migration there. But she may, even on that, I think, be forced to give way.
We were talking before about Macron and symbolism. Defence is also going to be on the table today, and there is symbolism in holding these talks at a British military academy just outside London. What more can we expect from those talks?
Well, the elephant in the room at all these talks that are going to take place today between the two sides, of course, is Brexit. Officially, it's not part of the negotiation, but it's there all the time. And the question is, what do you do, to make sure that Britain remains anchored to Europe, that even if it goes, even if Brexit is carried through, that important links like defence, for instance, remain in place, that Britain continues to be a major player in European defence, because it is critical to European defence. The biggest defence spender in the EU at the moment is Britain. Take out that muscle, and any prospect of an effective independent European defence force, which is what Emmanuel Macron wants, disappears. So what I think Macron will want will be some sort of agreement which will pull the two sides together. France and Britain already have an agreement which they signed in 2010, but he's trying to get Britain to engage in a bigger multilateral force.
Rob, thanks for that. France 24's Chief Foreign Editor Robert Parsons.